In this video, we'll move layers from our operational layers down into our basemap layers. Open up the move to basemap.py script from the basemap folder. In the previous video, we used our basemap manager move from basemap method to move both layers from our basemap layers to our operational layers in the WebMap. In this video, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to move from our operational layers down into our basemap layers. But we don't use the basemap manager. We use the map object content property, which is a map content object. And that map content object has a move to basemap method. So let's head over to the documentation for the move to basemap method. Here we have the move to basemap method from the map content class. And this will move a layer to be a basemap layer. Now it does say here a web map always contains a basemap. We just proved this wrong in the previous video. The following is a list of possible basemap layer types. The move to basemap has one required parameter. It is an index, which is an integer, and this is the index of the layer from the operational layers that will be moved to the basemap layers. So let's head over to our Python script. We'll first access ArcGIS Online using our GIS class and supplying our home string. We'll assign our GIS object to a variable called AGOL. We'll then use our GIS object content manager get method, supplying in our WebMap item ID, which I'll paste in now. The get method will return an item object that will assign to a variable called WebMap item. We'll then use our item object for our WebMap to create a map object from the map class, and we'll assign our map object to a variable called WebMap. We're going to use our WebMap object, and we call the content property, which is a content manager, and that has the move to basemap method. Our current web map only has two layers, which are the basemap layers that we moved from the basemap to our operational layers. And I'll put in index 0 to move the first of those layers down into the basemap. Because we are updating a map object, we use the update method for our map object to commit the change. We'll assign the calling of the update method to a variable called status, and we'll print status to screen. So let's run the script. We can see that we are getting an error, list assignment index out of range. I'm currently using the ArcGIS API for Python version 2.4.2, and I'm getting this error. Hopefully you are not receiving this error, and that worked fine for you if you are on a future version. If you are getting this error, we're going to have a look at a workaround of how to get our layers from our operation layers down into our basemap. I'm going to go back to our script. I'm going to put in 1 to see if the other layer goes down. I'll rerun, and we are getting the same error. Okay, let's take a look at a workaround. I'm going to comment out our first example where we attempted to use the move to basemap method. And I have an example here as a workaround where we'll manipulate the WebMap JSON definition. We'll use the item object, not the map object, the item object get data method to return the JSON definition for our WebMap item as a Python dictionary, which will assign to a variable called WebMap item data. We then access the operational layers of the dictionary, and we're accessing the first layer, which will assign to a variable called layer. Once we have that first layer stored in the variable layer, we can delete it from the operational layers. But I'm going to access the WebMap item data basemap property and have a look at the basemap layers, which is a list of dictionaries that represent the basemaps. We're going to update that list of dictionaries to contain one dictionary, which is the layer that we are moving from the operational layers down to the basemap. We then define the WebMap item properties. So we create a variable called WebMap item properties that is a dictionary. We set the key to be text, the string of text, and the value to be the updated WebMap item data, where we updated the basemap layers. We then use the item object update method, supplying in our WebMap item properties dictionary as the item properties parameter. Now let me run this script. Our script is complete. I'll head over to ArcGIS Online. Here we can see the current state of our basemap. There are no reference layers or base layers. They are both in our operational layers for our web map. I'm going to refresh the page. we can see that our base map has been moved. We only have our light grey reference in the layers. We'll go to the base map, and into the current base map, we now have our light grey base added back to the base map. I'm going to go back to the Python script, run once more. I'm going to head back over to ArcGIS Online and refresh the map. And we can see we now have no layers in our operational layers. Both layers have been reinstated as our base map layers. We have our light grey base and our light grey reference. So you can see how you can manipulate the WebMap JSON definition to move layers from the operational layers down into the base map. In this lesson, we briefly saw that the map object has a content property that is a map content object, and that map content object has a method called move to basemap. Unfortunately, the move to basemap method does not function as it should, so we had to create a workaround where we manipulated the WebMap JSON definition to take the layers from our operational layers list and put them into our basemap layers list.